What is up, everybody? This is Recap Rewind. I'm J-Lag.
And I'm NB.
And this episode is recapping and reviewing Riverdale Season 4, Episode 15, and it's called Chapter 72, To Die For.
Don't forget, guys, stick around for the ending because we are going to go through our recap roundups, our best moments, our best lines, and also some of your recap roundups because we got so many on Twitter last night. So be sure to stick around for the end of the podcast and we'll show you guys what you had to say about the episode.
Yeah, and we also have a contest going on right now for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card and a pop socket. To enter, all you need to do is rate and comment on our iTunes page, and you'll be entered in this draw. We're extending this contest to the end of Riverdale Season 4, so you have lots of time to still join. As always, to our continuing listeners and our brand new ones, thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get into this crazy ass motherfucking episode, y'all.
Let's get into the episode. I'm so excited to hear what you have to say about it. I'm excited to see what our fans had to say about it because I was on Twitter last night and I literally read every single review this morning. I saw every single tweet. Nobody liked this episode. Everyone was really upset. And I thought I was I have to say in terms of the episode, I did enjoy it. It was entertaining, but overall, in the overall sense of the season, nothing adds up and nothing makes sense.
Right.
And so that's what I don't appreciate. But the fans out there really hated it. Everyone's what the fuck is this shit? What are you guys writing for us right now?
Right. Yeah, we'll get into some of the comments that you guys made as fans, but yeah, the whole Twitterverse was what's happening? So is he alive? He's alive now? Okay, like a lot of people I think were happy with the end result, but we're very frustrated with how we got there. And yeah, it's the biggest thing I think that frustrated me the most about this episode. Yes, I'm glad Jughead's back to life, whatever, that's fine. The biggest frustrating thing is so basically you're telling me that the core four are sociopaths who know how to act and pretend to be emotional in scenarios that they're not supposed to be emotional in. I didn't realize that we were watching motherfucking Pretty Little Liars out here where everybody's just lying to each other. Poor Alice was dealing with everybody's lies, even FP's lies since the very beginning. It's fucked. It's fucked.
But was Alice not in on it? Did she not know any of this?
Well, we can get into it, but there's a long laundry list of people who Betty actually says was in on it, and she's not in on it until the very end of the episode where she's when she's talking to Bughead and says Jughead and says, oh yeah, I had to involve her because she was digging too deep or whatever. But anyway, we'll get into that later. So yeah, I'm happy that this mystery's over. I did mention that to you guys a few podcasts back. I'm I don't want this to carry to the end of the season. It doesn't make sense for it to go that far. They ramped it up. They're finishing it up. And I'm okay, this is as much as I could take right now.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it all goes. But yeah, lots of things to say about this episode.
Yeah, let's get into the recap, and then we can really analyze what we liked, what we didn't like, what was missing, and everything like that.
So it starts off right away. Starts off with the first lie of this entire episode. It literally blacks into a screen of it says Jughead Jones, 1999 to 2000, and it's the date.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Rest in peace. So already you're okay, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit. And also RAS had tweeted that or put it out on Instagram, and the whole fandom was okay, is this real? Is this not real? I still refute. It's all just the hype of it all that frustrates me too. The idea that they're creating these moments to hype up the fandom, but not for real reasons. And
that's the part that's the most annoying. Really, really truly, it's so, because it's all fake. We'll talk about it later too, but even the scene with him in the funeral, the fake funeral with the coffin, you're right. Everything was a blatant lie, guys.
Lies.
Even in the promos, it was all lies.
Yeah.
You can't do that. You can't you can't just take a frame and make it up for the sake of a promo and then it never happens. You have to still create your promos around what's actually happening in the episode.
What's actually shown.
What's actually shown. That's
what show does that? What show shows you something happened? That's me cutting in Godzilla killing a monster in the middle of the fucking trailer and then assuming that that's what we're gonna see. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, totally.
That's how the whole episode starts off, and so then it cuts to the first scene where the Cooper family is sitting around a table. But I don't know why they're sitting around the table. Like they're sitting there just like sad and just looking at each other. And then they get a phone call, and then that's when Betty jumps up, and it's almost as if they're waiting for a phone call, but it's a phone call from Yale. So they all can't be waiting for a phone call from Yale. Like, why were they sitting around the table? Like, I don't get it. So she takes a phone call, and then it cuts to this new thing that was happening with Alice, and she's doing like a mini documentary. So it's like recording like almost like on a old videotape or whatever, showing that Betty's being interviewed by Alice, and she asks about what the call was all about, and basically she says that it was Yale calling, saying that now that Jughead's dead, she's taking his spot. And that's kind of that whole situation. Before we get into the rest of it, how did you feel about this mockumentary motif?
You know what? I love that whole motif of like the fake documentary vibe.
Yeah.
And I think Alice doing like a Netflix making a murder documentary is like amazing and so like on brand for her. But like, I also have to say that I just felt like they could have done this the whole season almost. Like I would have been down if like they really built this up where like she's doing this documentary and like she's interviewing all these people and they're saying certain things on the interviews. I felt like they could have played with it so much more, but they really didn't. I think they just used it as like a weird cool motif for like this episode only.
Right. And
I was kind of over it. Like, I was like, okay, if this is gonna end like this week, like what's the point? Like, are we gonna see this next week too? Or
I fully agree with you. It could be a good motif, but it definitely felt like an afterthought.
For sure.
I thought that it was completely unnecessary and very confusing. Like the fact that we find out information the same way with or without the documentary side of it wasn't necessary outside of it wasn't necessary outside of the fact that we were learning that Alice is making a documentary. There was no reason to be cutting back to this content. Like, for example, like when Betty tells her the truth, like she cuts the camera anyway. And so we're not even getting that information on tape. So it's one of those things where I was like, what was the point of all of this? Like, I get that they were trying something different, but really it didn't work for me. I didn't think it was necessary.
Yeah.
Did I have to see motherfucking Pops talk about how like shitty Riverdale is? No. Did I see Nana Rose and her talking about how dark Riverdale is? I don't give a shit. Like, it was good to see Nana, but like, I don't care. Like,
it was so extra. No, they didn't need it.
Very extra.
And it was funny because one of the comments that I was reading was like, why is Alice Cooper trying to be like a filmmaker out here? She's like, the first shot she did, she already fucked it up because she filmed Betty in front of a mirror. So you could see Alice in the shot.
Doing great, Alice. Just doing great.
And then the next scene, I think it was like Kevin recording for her. I was like, because she doesn't know what to do with the camera.
He's like, zoom in, zoom out. Yeah. So she's in front of the sign and she's talking to Kevin saying like, Riverdale, the story of murder. Like, it's just like her starting it up. And the next interviewee is Nana Rose interviewing her. And she's like, so when did Riverdale just get really fucked up? And Nana Rose is like, it was probably like in the middle of season 2.
Yeah.
Which is when it all fucking went
listen
downhill.
To Recap Rewind. They'll let you know exactly when this show got fucked up.
But yeah, I just thought it was really unnecessary. I get that they were trying to add that element, but like, y'all made shit confusing. I did not need an extra layer of storytelling.
Again, I think if they had gone with this motif from the beginning of the season, like a documentary style show, would have been so down for it. Like, it's so relevant in this day and age with all these like crime documentaries and shit. So I think it would have worked. But again, like you said, it was definitely an afterthought on their part. They're like, this might be cool and waste time.
Right.
Let's do it.
But you're right. That would have been really cool to see like this Alice Cooper, like investigative. It's almost like she woke up like in the morning of this episode and was like, I'm going to make a documentary. Like, girl, what the fuck? So anyway, cuts to Pop's Diner. And this is like the first like real scene. Cheryl right away goes in and hugs Betty. And she's honestly, Cheryl pulled me through this entire episode. She was like,
so can I ask you a question here? So Cheryl had no idea, right? Like she has
no idea. She got fucking like
Betty was playing her basically.
She was playing everybody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so Poor Cheryl. And that's another thing that frustrated me with this is like they were lying to like their really good friends about it too.
But imagine like they don't know if they can trust Cheryl. Like I do get it at the same time. Like it's scary.
That's fair. So Cheryl has some cute moments where she's like, now I have a rival as Queen Teen of Tragedy. Like she just like pulls in a bunch of those like moments where it just was entertaining to watch her, and
her lines were on point.
Great. So good.
Her lines were amazing.
So the main thing about this is Cheryl's like, I'm gonna be on suicide. I'm gonna be your like suicide watch person because I don't want you to kill yourself because I know how dark it is to like lose someone. She's all dealing with that, and already Betty's like, no, I don't want you to be around.
But realistically, Betty is trying to keep her around. Like she does. I think what's gonna happen is she does want Cheryl to stay around because it provides Betty with an alibi, right? So. Later on, if shit goes down, if like the cops like do investigate this further, Betty will always be like, Cheryl was always there. This is what she saw. So it is smart on Betty's part to have her.
Right. And also later on, Cheryl's the one that kind of perpetuates like the whole thing with the photo taking and the this and the this. And I think it's only because she was so involved in like making sure Betty was
for
okay.
sure. And like clearly she wasn't like meant to be trusted because
Yeah, exactly. They're like, let's choose Cheryl because like she can't be trusted.
Yeah.
So her first stop, Betty's first stop is like, I'm gonna go to Stonewall, and she's like, oh, I'll drive you. Don't worry about it. So she goes to Stonewall. Betty's taking down the pictures in the room. She's crying. Her mascara is like running down her face, and one of the last things that she pulls off the wall is Jughead's little what's it called? The pin from the pin from the Quill and Skull. And so she has an idea as she's leaving to drop it off in Donna. I'm assuming that's what happens. Like she plants it in Donna's room. But
she plants it in there,
she passes by Brett. Brett says like, oh, it looks like we're the ones that are going to go to Harvard. It's a scene that we already have seen. And then that's how that goes. Then it cuts to VARCHIE at the Pembroke, and they're just like sexing each other. They're just like doing their thing. And like Hermosa almost kicks the whole fucking door down. She's like, boom.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, just letting you know that I looked into your shit, and I'm just gonna like you're under investigation, and that's why you deferred Bernard.
I have to say though, like Hermosa was more of a parent than Hiram and Hermione have ever been in this show.
Like combined.
Hermosa was like, I know everything about you. I even know your boyfriend's dick size. Like, I know your life.
She's like, I like those abs. I like that dick. Like, she's like, I've seen everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, like she was like on Veronica's dick this entire episode, and I kind of liked it. I was like, she's like the big sister. Like she's trying to watch out for Veronica, you know? And
that's the thing. I do feel like I want to trust Hermosa. I want them to build that relationship because she's around and she seems like a pretty cool chick. But like I think they're not giving her enough time to have that relationship, and suddenly Veronica's just like, get the fuck out of my face.
But I don't think that. I don't agree with that. I think that the fact that they did show her quite a bit in this episode, but the way I think she shows love, and I'm sure this is the same way Hiram shows his love, is to like protect her, you know, like she's going and like investigating the case and making sure like Veronica's story is straight and like trying to get the tea. I feel like that's the way that she knows how to be a sister or like be, you know, a protector.
Right.
And I think that Veronica's still like, I don't trust you though, but I feel like Hermosa is like, I'm looking out for you though, real talk.
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited to see like what happens with them.
Yeah, I'm excited to see if they continue to develop that relationship, because now I want to see more of Hermosa and like how she's going to be involved.
Because by the end, she helps them, right? Like in a huge way. So clearly like her intentions were good. So.
Well, part of me now is like, are they good? Because we don't know who she is. I can still question whether or not her intentions are good or trustworthy. So she's like, rise and shine. Like the espresso's getting cold, and then she like dips out of the scene. Shine. I swear they put that line in on purpose. So then it cuts to Alice doing doing the documentary thing, talking to FP in the sheriff's in the sheriff's office. And he's basically like, we have another lead, but we need a warrant to find out what it is.
Someone was like, as if FP like already needed to be fired as sheriff. He's now like basically like telling everyone like this case is like freaking ongoing case, like details like he shouldn't be talking about.
He's honestly, this episode just goes to show how much of a shit sheriff he's been.
Totally. I can't believe he made it this long.
Like he couldn't even figure out his own fucking son's murder like properly without being told what to do. So cuts to Stonewall, and FP is searching Donna's room, and he finds the pin with Jughead's initials on the back of it, and he's like, "What's this, bitch?" And so Donna obviously like thinks quickly on her feet, and she goes, "We were afraid of Betty killing us, and like this is what happened. We saw her doing it. We saw Betty holding a rock standing over Jughead with all of her friends as well." So she basically pins them in this moment. And that's when Riverdale cuts to that scene at Riverdale High, and FP's arresting them. "You're under arrest for the cold-blooded murder of my son, Jughead Jones," blah, 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 whatever. And already, like, watching it back now, knowing that Jughead's alive and this was all, like, a fake plan, I'm just like, okay, like, this is why they all look like they were all shitty actors, because FP's out here.
Nothing was real.
Like, nothing was real. Exactly. I was like, it's either really bad writing that's being played out in like a chapter from his like Jughead's novel, or it's like a fake scenario, like they're playing it out for fake. Anyway, they get arrested. Betty's like, "Don't worry guys, everything's gonna be fine." But again, one of the things that that happens again this episode, but one of the things that don't ever get seen that we saw in the promo is Archie, Betty, and Veronica in the jail cell, and then also the scene where they're being named by Donna and Brett, which was a huge scene to like have in the flash forward, does not exist. And this would be the time to put them in, right? Like that would be the time where they would be processed or whatever. There's no scene of that at all. Again, extremely frustrating to see these scenes not exist in the actual show and only be in there for the promos.
You know, again, it just shows that the writing is so sloppy, and I don't want to say it. I don't want to be so hard on them, and I don't want to constantly like have to critique that part of this show, but it is. You're right. Like, why would you put those scenes in the flash forwards? You literally went and filmed those scenes. You know, it doesn't take that long to just insert them into the episode. They're like, what, 4 or 5 seconds worth of like footage? Right. Just show it. But it's like they can't show it at this point because it's not going to link up and it's not probably going to connect, and it's like useless. So it's like,
exactly, that's the only reason.
Like, what did you guys write this season? Like, did you guys even map it out? Like, did you have a beginning and an end? Like, it's like they created these shock moments before they even got to what the moment was going to be in the actual story. Like, it's like they worked it backwards, or I don't know. I was just disappointed in those moments. Like, no other show does this. No other show I've ever seen takes shit out of the promo in order for it to be like not the like what actually happens in the show. Anyway, whatever. So that happens. I know that half our listeners do watch Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and maybe half of you guys don't. But I don't accept any excuse that anyone says this is just like a teenage show. It's just like a show. It's just like a thing, drama. No. Did you guys watch Sabrina this season? It was amazing, okay? They covered every single loophole. They left nothing unanswered. Like, they made sure that they covered their asses because they probably know that people are like, okay, don't give us shitty writing because we're going to know shitty writing. Yeah. So it is possible to write a season that makes sense beginning to end.
Agreed. And that's the thing. I think one of the things that was mentioned on Twitter as well is like, I want this show to be entertaining. I'm watching this show because I want some entertainment value. I want to enjoy myself. I don't want to feel confused. And I said this last episode as well. I don't want to feel confused the entire episode being like, what's happening? That's not how your viewers should be experiencing the show. It should be like, whoa, what just happened there? I want to find out more, or I'm excited to watch the next episode. Well, instead, I'm like, what the hell? And then I just wait for the next thing. And then I call out these moments that they pull out completely out of the episode, these like promo moments that get taken out of the episode. And I'm like, okay, so they're purposefully making us feel some type of way and really misleading their audience. And I'm just not feeling that, you know?
I was shocked to see how many tweets I saw that said, we all knew Jughead wasn't dead. You guys literally like created no tension whatsoever. Like no one was at the edge of their seat waiting for the reveal. Like everyone knew that Jughead was alive. Like we're not dumb.
Guys, I'm
and I was
telling you,
shocked at that. Like people were like over it. They were like, we knew he wasn't dead. So like your shock value is completely gone.
For sure. And it's very true. Like they did this flash forward. They showed him dead in episode 4. And even at that point, I was so confused because they hadn't given us any information. Now that we have most of the information, I can't even turn around and be like, yo, what a sick like way to show it. Like there was no like enjoyment of that whole experience because I was just the entire time I was confused and frustrated that I didn't get enough information. It wasn't like making like How to Get Away with Murder where they give you a little tidbit and then you're like, holy, but how does it all end up? Like in the scene that I'm watching right now, how does it end off in the way that we've seen it? And it just, I don't know. We can move on, but like, let's go.
I get you. Yeah.
So another scene that we see, another scene that was completely unnecessary is Pops at the Pops Diner talking to Alice about how shitty Riverdale is and how it's like, next.
Like literally no point whatsoever.
No point whatsoever. Then it cuts to FP interrogating everybody. So then first it's Veronica and Hiram's kind of like with her and he's defending her being like, you can't ask my daughter these questions. Then it's Archie and then Mary's like, you can't ask my son these questions. And then it cuts to Alice and Betty, and they're talking privately first because Alice is like,
bitch, I know you did it.
Yeah. This bitch fully blames her daughter and says, like, don't worry, Betty. I got you, fam. Like, you fully killed your own
I know you snap sometimes.
boyfriend.
I know you black out. She's like, you probably did this. She's like, Mom? Like, what the hell?
Like, thanks for backing me up. Jesus.
Oh, my God.
Like, thanks for the support. So I was just a little like taken aback by the fact that Alice just like went in and she's like, don't worry, girl. I know you killed him.
That's why I thought at this point she was in on it. Cause I'm like, oh, she's trying to make like a show. Like she's trying to act for like the police cameras. But
no, but the cameras were off.
At that point. Yeah, I don't know. I just like
the cameras were off at that point. She literally said, she was like, oh, FB turned off the cameras right now. So like you can tell me the truth.
Yeah. I don't know.
Like,
I guess I assumed she was in on it, but
but also the question is like, why
she really
did they
thought
wait?
her daughter was the killer.
Yeah, she fully thought her daughter was a killer. I'm like, thanks, Alice. You're the best. So anyway, FB comes in this moment and he says they tested the DNA on the rock and it turns out that it wasn't real. And so then everybody gets released because of that.
Like also that would never happen just because like a piece of evidence is like fake. They wouldn't just be like, okay, bye. Like,
yeah, like everyone's released now from jail.
Yeah.
Like, no, that's not how that works. So whatever. Cuts to Donna talking to Brett and she's freaking out because she finds out somehow that there's fake blood on this rock. And she says something in this moment, which was a pretty big thing to hear. Donna says, Jonathan smeared Jughead's blood with the rock. So they were at the scene of the crime. So that now it's confirmed that like
they did hit Jughead. They did
hit Jughead. They did take the stone. They did smear the blood. Like that was all in that connection. So I hope we get to see that at some point, but I don't know at this point if we will. So after this happens, Donna calls Betty because she's trying to figure it out with Brett. She's like, why would they have a fake blood? You know that it's real. So it kind of all clicks with Donna and she calls Betty at 3 in the morning and she's like, I know you know that Jughead's not dead, bitch. And then they have this like moment where she's basically calling Betty out and Betty's like, girl, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Can you please like leave me alone right now? I'm like sad with my boyfriend being fake dead.
Like Donna did guess everything. She's like, if I was you, I would have also faked his death because I wanted him to be dead. And then Betty's like, yeah, you're actually right, but I gotta go back to sleep. Like, goodbye.
Yeah, she's like, you're more ahead of like the rest of the viewers because like that's where we're at too. So she says like, because Betty tries to say like, you saw his dead body in the coroner's office, and she's like, yeah, but I didn't like stare into his eyeballs, like I didn't see his actual body.
We were also right about the fact that Curdle Jr. was in on it.
Yeah.
We called that from like the fucking first episode, basically.
So are we saying that he has a fake body, or was that Jughead laying on the slab?
Yeah, I think they like made him look like blue and shit, and like,
oh my god,
because no one came in to like check his pulse. Like they didn't come in; they just saw his body laying there, and like he looked blue. Like, why is that so hard to do? You know?
True. And I guess like, and I feel like that was kind of on purpose too, for them to like keep the door unlocked so they can sneak in.
That was intentional for them to see his face to be like, oh shit, he is dead. But then like the door closed right away. So
right. But Donna tries to have like a moment that Betty had at the end of last episode where she's like, there's no way out of this for you. I'm going to get you, girl. So I did love the fact that there's this rivalry between Donna and Betty that like kind of elevated this episode, where Donna starts, like, you got to see a lot more of Donna's perspective and how she's starting to unravel a bit, which was kind of cool. That's probably the one thing that I liked about this episode, that we got to see a little bit more of the villain side of things.
Yeah, I'm glad that like it's not Brett. I'm glad that it's like a female villain.
Right.
Kind of going head to head with Betty. Like, I'm down for that. So
yeah. Also because you have a crush on Brett, so it's fine. We're not going to talk about that right now.
I'm over it. I'm actually over it now.
Oh, okay.
The time has passed.
So it cuts to the Cooper residence, and Betty goes down and talks to FP and Alice and says, I think it's time for us to do the funeral. Let's just do it now. And I guess this is now, like I said, watching this back now, this is the moment where FP's like, okay, like now she's telling me to initiate this to like get this moving, like, because it seems that Donna is onto them a little bit, right? So now she has to confirm that like the body's like dead or whatever. So before that happens, Hermosa talks to Veronica at the Pembroke, and she's like, hey girl, just in case you like don't get out of this whole like murder situation, here's your like Monica Posh passport in case you want to dip. Like, it was so random.
It was so random.
But also, like, to your point, I do love the fact that they're showing Hermosa like be supportive, but not not like in the way that you would traditionally think an older sister would support you. She's like, here's a fake passport so you can leave the country.
I mean, and then again, like an older sister would probably like give you her ID to use at a club.
Yeah,
but this is like the rich girl level. Like, I got you a passport with like your alias name, not even your real name.
Yeah.
Also, like Veronica ripping out the passport, like that would never happen because you can't even fucking tear that shit up.
Yeah,
that's
try
just, like,
doing
plastic.
that. You can put that shit into the fucking air, like dry cleaner. It's fine. So then it cuts to the El Royale. It cuts to the El Royale. And another
this was so random again. Why did I need this scene at all?
No reason for the scene at all whatsoever. 0%
like
reason.
Archie's at the El Royale and the kids are like training and they're like, yo man, you killed your best friend. He's like, no, I didn't. And they're like, oh, okay.
And they're like, we're not coming to class today. Bye.
I was like, what? What the fuck was the point of that scene, guys?
Honestly, like taking somebody wrote this down on paper. Yeah. Somebody accepted this as the script, and then they shot it. Like,
what did that have anything to do with the episode that the kids he was training were like, yo, you killed someone. Like
you're gonna tell me that at the reveal at the end of the episode is gonna like be like, oh, but he was at the El Royale and the kids thought it was fucking real. Like, come on. There was no reason for it.
It's so stupid.
Anyway, so cutting to Tony being interviewed by Alice for the documentary, which this was probably one of my favorite moments, but Tony's like, yeah, we used to be really good friends. We fucked that one night and like it was fine. That's when we realized that we were going to be good friends. She's like, it's also the day I realized I was a lesbian. She's like, Jughead was not my C's at all.
Wait, who said that?
Tony. Because she's like,
oh, yeah.
She's like, yeah, we like done fucked or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the camera, it was really funny. The camera like pans over because Cheryl's sitting right beside Tony. And Cheryl's like, do you think that I'm threatened by the fact that like this like man tried to like fuck my girl? Like, I don't give a shit. It was so funny. And then Alice asked her like, what do you feel? Do you have anything to say? Like, how do you feel about this whole situation? And she says one of my favorite lines of the entire episode. She's like, I'm sorry I called Jughead a hobo that one time. Which I died at.
And then Alice was like, what do you like really want to say though? Like, is that what you want to say? And like she takes a moment. She's like, hold on. She goes, yeah, I'm really sorry I called Jughead a hobo that one time.
It was so good. I was like, this is such a good moment. And this is like what I love about the show. This is what I love about the show. Those sassy comments, the fun high school-y stuff, her calling him a hobo. Like, it felt like Mean Girls. I was just living for it. And then it just like became a confusing episode again. So it cuts to the funeral now. And already, like, right off the top, I'm like, this can't be real. The Stonies were invited to this freaking thing.
So stupid. Like, never.
I'm like,
also, like, where was his mom? Like, please, like, his mom would be there even if it's a fake funeral.
100%. Well, did his mom like disappear? Didn't she like say she's like not coming back? Like,
oh, probably they said that because they can't pay for her.
She doesn't even know that her fucking son is dead at this point, probably.
So they paid for a scene with Archie at the El Royale with 3 random kids, but they couldn't bring her back for her son's funeral. Cool.
They also brought Sweet Pea back for this one scene and this one scene only. Yeah. We haven't seen Sweet Pea for like a year, like a full year, and he's back for a fake storyline. Like, it's pretty tight. I'd be so cheesed if I was that actor.
But wait, the best part is that Kevin had the most lines he's ever had in the entire show in an like episode where like everything was fake anyways.
It's so true. Oh my god.
He basically had to do the camera operating. Yeah. He was like behind the camera.
So okay, once again, fake storyline, fake acting, but everybody's fully crying. FP speaking
except for Jellybean. This bitch doesn't even care.
Yeah, Jellybean sitting there being like, I can't talk in front of people.
Like, sick.
And she's like, I'm not lying about that shit. So FP speaks. He's like crying. He's like, my son. He was such a good guy. Whatever. Then Betty speaks, and she's like, I'm gonna read this passage from Sherlock Holmes. I wrote it, like I literally looked for it and I found it, and I wanted to read it out, but now I don't want to because it's all fake, so I don't care anymore.
Basically, she's like, I miss his dick, and like it's gonna be so hard to move on. Like, what am I gonna do?
What am I gonna do?
And everyone's like crying. I mean, the whole scene really comes down to Donna and Brett just don't trust that this is actually Jughead's casket.
Right.
And like we were saying before, in the promos, it's an open casket funeral.
It's an
like
open
you
casket.
can actually see his body inside. But in the house, like in this moment in the episode, like it's closed and you never see him inside. But by the end of the scene, when everyone's kind of standing around, Donna like pushes too hard on Betty. I think they go in because she tries to go in and on Jellybean.
Yeah.
And Betty's like, get the fuck away from her. She's like, she's just a kid. Like, don't bother her or whatever.
Yeah. She's like, bitch, I'm done with you. She like has her like bitch moment in this episode.
Yeah, I feel like they're making her say bitch too much now. Where like I'm getting sick of it. Like say it once or twice, but like now it's losing its power because like before it was lit when she would say it. You know?
Yeah. You know why? Because they did it once. Everybody on Twitter was like, yo, bitch.
And then
now
they did it
she
again,
says it every
like
episode.
Weeks later, and it worked again. But now they said it again. I'm like, okay, you're done now. Like choose another word. Like you
too
can't.
Yeah,
it's too many bitches. Like I don't know, like cunt or something. I don't know. Anyway, so she basically like kicks Donna out, but like as Donna's leaving, she's like, Brett, go do it now. And then he tries to like lunge for the casket, I guess, to open it, right? Like to check if Jughead's in there.
Yeah.
Is that what he went for?
He went for it. He like ripped the flowers off the top of the casket, but then they stopped him before he was able to actually like open it.
He's like, get away from my man.
Also, I don't think it's that easy to just like pull it open. It like it's pretty heavy. That like lid is not.
Oh,
it's not that easy.
I'm
assuming it's like 100 pounds, but whatever.
Anyways, the point is he's probably not in the casket, so they can't freaking open it. So obviously, like they're trying to like stop Brett from like opening it. And then they get kicked out. Basically, Betty's like, you bitch, he's dead. Yeah. And now you have to leave this house, and they leave. So yeah.
So they dip. Then it cuts to Hermosa talking to Hermione again. Oh no, not Hermione, to our girl Veronica, and she's like, so I found out another secret because I'm a better investigator than your
but like
shitty
she really is
sheriff.
Though she really is like fucking FP's useless, and Hermosa in like 25 minutes solved everything.
If Hermosa becomes the next sheriff, I will live for that.
I love it. Yeah, I'll actually love it.
I would love
because Hiram can hire her, right?
Yeah, hire. Oh yeah, by the way, in that funeral scene, like FP quits being a sheriff.
Yeah. Well, Hiram's like, by the way, like maybe you need a minute, bro. Like your son just died. He's like, fuck you, I quit.
Yeah, he's like, fuck this shit. I'm out. He's like, I was shitty at this job anyway. I'm out of here.
No one needs you as sheriff, homie.
Yeah, and then FP's like, I'm leaving the show at the end of the season anyhow, so just cut me out now. Yeah, so like he's just out. And so Hermosa says to Veronica, like, I know your lies to all the parents were like not true. Like everything that you said to everybody was not true.
Yeah.
And she did this by talking to Alice separately, talking to Mary separately. And so then she's like, tell me the truth or I'll tell all the parents that you're lying right now. So I guess in this moment, this is when Veronica has to tell her most of the whole story in order for her to like do the sleuthing at the end of the episode. So then it cuts to Betty talking to Kevin at school, and he comes up to her and he says, so is it like true or whatever? And Betty's like, true about what? And she's like, he says, people are saying that Jughead is still alive. Like there's a lot of rumors out here, especially that chick Donna who was screaming at it at the fucking funeral saying that Jughead's still alive. And so Betty's like, she's like,
oh yeah, that girl, that bitch.
She's like, true, the one that I've been trying to take down this entire time. True. She's like, what the hell? This is so bullshit. Like it's not true.
So
it's
obviously
really hurtful.
People are talking about him not being dead for real. So she has to like somehow create a plan to really like up the stakes and like make it really seem like he is dead, because she can't have people saying that he's not dead, you know?
Exactly. So it does seem like they had an initial plan. Like if we want to talk about this plan for a second, they had an initial plan, but then they had to like react to people based on how they reacted to the situation. Right.
So because they have to roll with it. Like things aren't going to go the way that they thought it was going to go, or you know, whatever. So now she has to like kind of switch her plan like a little bit more to like make it more dramatic and make it more real. Right.
So then it shows Kevin talking to Alice really quickly, and he's like, yeah, like there's a lot of rumors going around about him not being dead. And he mentions something about a story about Tom Sawyer, which is something that they read. And it's a story basically where Tom Sawyer, he pretends, or they think that Tom Sawyer is dead.
He fakes his death. He fakes his own death in the story, right?
And so they have a funeral for him. And while the funeral is happening, he's like over the rafters, like listening to people talk about him being dead. And Jughead apparently was like obsessed with this part of the storyline. And so then Kevin's like, yeah, I guess like maybe I think that like he might be alive because like he would love this shit so much. And then it shows Reggie in this documentary moment asking the same question. And actually he was a good bit of comic relief for this. He was like, yeah, I'm so cheesed. And Alice is like, yeah, I know, you're probably really sad that like you lost your friend. And Reggie's like, no, I'm cheesed that like he's doing the sickest prank of all time. Like I wanted to do the sickest prank of all time. Like the fact that he's pretending to be dead, like I'm not gonna be able to beat that shit. So fucking I thought that was kind of cute. Then it cuts to Pop's diner, and this is the moment that we saw the flash forward scene where we thought it was going to be like a Barchie moment, but it really wasn't. So Archie and Betty are talking, and Betty's like, I don't know why people are saying he's still alive, and it's hurting me even more. And then it kind of pans over, and Cheryl's like overhearing them.
She's listening, yeah.
Talking,
and Betty's like, he's really dead, isn't he, Arch? He's really dead. He's really dead. So like she's trying to like, you know. And obviously, like, Cheryl's like, oh my God, like, he must be really dead. And then, like, but then, the next day.
Isn't she supposed to be on, like, Betty's suicide watch? So shouldn't she be sitting right beside her to be like, hey, how's it going? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah.
Like,
but I
wouldn't that be.
She's like lurking, but like not like, because even Betty said, she's like, don't like get into my space. So maybe Cheryl's just like, okay, like let me sit like 5 feet from her, but like let me just be in the same area.
The real reason Cheryl was not in that booth is because the writers wanted us to think that we were getting a Barchie moment. That's the only reason why.
Oh,
let's be real.
Really?
I mean, think about it. If Cheryl was supposed to be the one that is able to like spread the rumor, then why did she have to sit in the corner? It didn't like anyway, whatever. I just think that
yeah.
Anyways. Moving on to Riverdale High, and everybody is like kind of standing by Jughead's locker.
Yeah, she takes what she heard the night before, whatever, and like makes his locker like a memorial
area, yeah,
for Betty. And like Betty's like, oh, like so super cute, like whatever, like thanks, Cheryl.
But then she starts crying like crazy, and so then she runs to the music room, and Archie follows her, and she's like, I can't do this. I feel so alone.
Help me. I need your penis. I need
to feel good, even for a few moments. And he's like, don't worry, girl. I got you.
He's like, I've always been here for you, right?
Yeah. And so then he kisses her. He kisses her. Yeah. Then we get our Barchie moment.
At this point, I know it's fake. Like I could just tell that like they were putting on this act.
Right.
And so when I was super excited for this moment in the promos and all the pictures, but I just felt like I'm like they're doing this for like show, like they're not really kissing.
Right.
And so it took that BARCHIE moment away, like, from me. I was like, oh my God.
It's like it was like a fake BARCHIE moment.
Yeah, it was a fake BARCHIE moment.
But taken like on Twitter, when this happened, Twitter literally exploded. Everybody was like, fuck BARCHIE, this is so bullshit. And then the BARCHIE fans obviously were like, yes, BARCHIE, yes. So it got the fandom talking until the very end. Everybody's like, okay, cool, we're good. Like we're
you
back
know what?
to normal now.
This is such a cop-out move for the writers to do, because what they can do here is do a BARCHIE moment, like promo the shit out of it, hype the fuck out of it, and then be like, ha, it was just fake, like it was just like a show. So what they're doing is, and then they're also they're seeing on Twitter, how's everyone responding? Like, is everyone freaking out? Can we actually go through with this BARCHIE thing? Do we have the balls to go through this BARCHIE thing? Like, they are so like scared shitless. It's so annoying. You guys are now going into your 5th season almost. Like, fucking man up and like do BARCHIE.
Do it. Yeah,
do it. Like, come on.
Do what you're gonna do and be bold in your choices. Don't like fake it out and like be like, we're just testing the waters of the fandom. Like, do whatever you think is the most necessary thing. Like, then this episode was like the fucking reassurance of the lifetime, being like, we're gonna stay together forever. Like, fucking BARCHIE had to have a moment.
The episode ends pretty well. Like, I am hyped for it, but like, again, I don't trust that the writers are actually gonna have the balls to go through with it.
Hell no.
Because they're too scared. No. They're way too scared.
No. So anyway, we'll get to that in a second. But so she sees them kissing. She sees them kissing through the fucking window. Once again, this motherfucking music room.
It's on purpose. They're trying to do it like,
which I get, but like, you're telling me episodes ago when Veronica like runs over and sits on Archie's dick, there was literally a window right there. So you're telling me people like fully saw them having sex in that fucking music room.
J-Lac, at this point, you are trying to make sense of. They don't even know their sets. Like, you just can't. You just can't.
I know. I gotta
like,
just keep my
if
mouth
you
shut.
really want to get into the nitty gritty, like, FP wouldn't even been the sheriff on his murder case. Like, he's not in the jurisdiction. Like, he wouldn't have that. Like, we can go for days.
Yeah,
picking out the loopholes. Do you know what I mean? Like, we could go forever.
Yeah,
we can't.
it's a good point. We only got less than an hour to go. Anyway, so when she takes this picture, she has to like, she's like, I'm obligated to send this to literally everybody in school. She sends it to everyone except for Veronica.
Yeah, that's the best part.
And so
she gets into like the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Veronica's like, just like whatever, doing like lip liner. And Cheryl's like, oh my God. She's like, Veronica. Like, you can tell, like, you know, those girls that like, they get joy when like they spread drama. Like, that's what she, like, she was like actually like happy. She's like, oh my God, Veronica. Veronica's like, what? She's like, oh my God. Like, I was gonna draft this text, but like, it was just, and Veronica's like, what? Like, what? She's like, I didn't draft it. She's like, you know, I didn't draft it because I gotta like tell you in person. And she's like, what? And then she shows like the picture right on her phone,
right?
Which, by the way, like Cheryl has an old ass iPhone. It was like iPhone like 5. I was like, girl, you need to upgrade that shit.
Upgrade. Go to your service provider.
Yeah, and then obviously like Veronica freaks out. She's like, oh my God, my puppy, and she like storms into like the lounge.
Yeah, and
again, like, I know you said this last night too to me. I was like living for this drama, even though it was fake. I'm like, I'm loving this. Like, this is the shit that I want to see.
This is what I want. This is what I wanted Riverdale to be. Like, the drama, the high school shit, the Cheryl taking pictures and like being the gossip girl of the whole like school. I loved it. I was so good. And then it's all fake. So anyway, she like goes in on Betty. Well, first she goes in on Archie.
First she goes in on Archie.
Motherfucker.
He's like, what did I do? What did I do? What did I do? And she's like, this is. She's like, you fucking kissed Betty and you're such an asshole. She's like, the poor girl's like mourning her boyfriend and like, you freaking took advantage of her.
Right.
And like, it's cutting to like everyone's like reaction, like Kevin on the couch, like Tony on the couch. And Betty's like, no. She's like, I actually kissed him. She's like, I really wanted it. Like, I'm so fucking like horny for it.
She's like, I'm horny.
And Veronica's like, bitch, what?
Yeah. So she gets pissed off at her. She's like, burn in hell. And then as she's leaving, Tony's like, you tell him, girl. I'm like, okay, Tony, thanks for your 2 cents in this conversation.
Commentary.
Yeah. So back to Kevin and Alice, like in the documentary format. Kevin's like talking to Alice now, and she's like, so what do you think about the rumors
like,
now?
Why would Alice be asking about BARCHIE in the documentary? It
Honestly,
doesn't make any sense.
I was like, a part of me was like, basically Kevin is the voice of Twitter. Like he's the voice of like the BARCHIE stands and like everybody. Like
I did love this scene with him. Like he was actually pretty funny in this moment where he's like, he's like, he's like, he's like, I know like there is bughead strippers out there, and he's like, it is like whatever, like Endgame, like I don't know if he said that, but he's like, it is bughead. He's like, but it's always been Archie and Betty.
Archie and Betty, yeah.
And he's like, that's just how I always saw it, like from the beginning. And he's like, all the closeted BARCHIE shippers are like now coming out, and like wanting this shit to happen. And it was cute, like the way like he said it was really cute. And it was kind of like, and I think even Alice was like, wait, like, does that mean like you're like, are you a BARCHIE like shipper? And he's like, no. He's like, no. He's like, I can't risk not having any more lines in this show. He's like, I need to be neutral.
They're like, if they confirm that Kevin's a BARCHIE shipper, he'll get killed off next season. Anyway, so that happens, and then in the middle of all this, he's like, okay, I guess now that happened, Jughead is obviously dead.
Because he's like, there's no way in hell Betty would ever like suck like Archie's dick if like Jughead was really like alive. He's like, he must be dead now. I'm like, oh, now you believe it? Like, okay.
Fucking Gossip Girl Cheryl, and then Gossip Girl like fucking Kevin. So then it cuts to Betty and Donna, and they're talking at Riverdale High. Like Donna just like, I guess, walks right into school.
This part killed me though, because like it was like dark in the room, and Betty's like just like kind of like picking up like last minute things, I guess, from like Jughead's room. Yeah. And Donna walks in and she's like, hey, she's like, why are you here all alone? And Betty's like, yeah, why? You're gonna kill me? Like the way she said it was so funny.
She's like, where are you hiding, Jugs? Tell me the truth right now. I know. And like the way that she like made the conversation like a real thing. She's like, I know you like to get fucked by that guy.
Yeah, like she came out of nowhere. She's like, oh, she's like, I know where he is, because you have a lot of sex. You must have a lot. She's like, I watched your sex tape, you nympho. I'm like, how did you like deduce that from a sex tape? Like, what the fuck?
She's
like,
so crazy. She's like, you're gonna need that D soon, so you're gonna have to like find him. I'm gonna just keep watching you. I'm like, oh my god, I cannot believe she's literally like losing her mind. That's how
she solved it. Like,
she's like, I know she's horny all the time. Like, she's gonna have to go find him now. Like, what?
It's actually so genius though, like low-key.
It is like low-key. She's like, yeah, I get it. She's like, she's gonna have to have sex with her man. So then it cuts to Betty and Alice, and this is like the moment that everything gets revealed. Alice is now interviewing Betty, and Betty's explaining it in the beginning, and she's like, yeah, I was going down to the bunker to bring food, and then it kind of just continues to narrate. And it shows Betty taking food down into the bunker. Like, she follows her all the way from Pop's diner. She goes to the bunker. She sees her going down into like the bunker area, and Donna follows her. So it shows Donna following her. Donna's going down the stairs, and then she's like, ha, I caught you. And she like has her little flashlight, and it's not Jughead. It's Archie making out with Betty. And Betty's like, ew, get away from me. You're so gross, you pervert. And so Donna just like disappears. But the part that I thought was really funny is like, Archie's like fully naked. Like, he like got into his role.
He's naked. Like he was down for that role.
Fully out. Like, didn't even like think twice. Like, Betty's literally fully clothed, making out with him on top of him. I'm like, girl, like, give me a break. You'd be fully like naked at that point in time. Anyway, so this is when Betty kind of like cuts back to like Alice's documentary, and she's like, okay, hold on, I need to tell you something off the record. And then Alice cuts the camera, and the next scene that we see is Alice again in front of like the sign, and she's like, or I don't think she's in front of the sign, but it's Alice talking, and she goes, this is not a story about just murder. It's about friendship and conspiracy. And we're like, okay. In this moment, I was like, okay, now we're going to get the entire story. Like, this is the point in time where I was like, okay, they're going to show everything. So then Veronica and Archie shows Veronica and Archie, and they're just like sexing each other. And they're like, we like tricked everybody. Like, how was that moment making out with Betty? And Archie's like, yeah, it was cool. I'm just like doing it for my friends. You know, like, it's all just like my
totally
friends.
Like innocent, just acting because they want me to act. I'm totally cool with it. And then is this the moment where Veronica does ask him, like, hey, by the way,
did you feel anything?
Yeah. So she does ask him. She turns to him, and it kind of shocked me because I don't know. I just assume that like they've been through so many things, and like it's season 4. I just feel like she wouldn't be worried about Betty anymore. And so for her to ask it, I was like, oh shit, like she does feel some way still, a little bit.
I think they still have to approach this BARCHIE situation with a bit of caution. They can't say like absolutely never, it's never going to happen, then it's not cross anybody's mind, because that would be, I think, a little bit unrealistic. But I get why she says it, but you're right. Like, why would you even discuss that? This shouldn't be a discussion point. Obviously he's doing it for his best friend, so like, what's the big deal? Archie does say, he's like, when will you learn you are now and forever the only girl for me?
I was like, final last words.
I was like, okay, now the VARCHIE crew's like better now. They feel better. Like, everybody's like, yes, they're still together forever. They're still on game. Then it shows Betty, and she's like, oh, what a lie. And then the camera kind of pans over, and Jughead's like, yeah, what a lie. And so this is the first time that we see Jughead, and we're like, okay, so he isn't dead. He's still alive. What did you think of this reveal?
I mean, we knew it. He was alive. He wasn't dead. What actually surprised me was the fact that they didn't really have a great plan at all. So
no, zero plan.
There was zero plan, and I was kind of let down at that. I was like, you guys went through all this shit and this entire season, and he didn't have a plan whatsoever.
Right. I think it brings it all the way back to that moment. And as much as I want to give them, like, I want to like be upset with them because they wrote this kind of weird, I will give it to them that, you know, that whole scene with the chess match between him and Brett. I think it all brings it back to that moment where like chess is all about making the next move. It's all about patience. It's all about psyching people out to, like, you know, make them feel like they fucked something up. And so basically Betty says the exact same thing. She's like, it's a game of confidence. And when people feel like they can't trust themselves, they start to make mistakes. The one thing that I wanted to mention was Jughead does get hit by a rock, because he does say, like,
for real,
like he got hit by the rock and the thing like softened the blow. His beanie softened the blow. Yeah. Which was really funny because NB like made the funniest tweet ever today. If you guys haven't checked out our Twitter, you have to see it because I died of laughter when she sent it to me. You can buy it now on Amazon. It's like a blunt force trauma proof fucking beanie. Jughead's beanie. But I guess I hope that they answer this question. But are we to assume that the Stonies are the ones that they were the ones that hit him, right? Like they're the ones that hit him.
I think it is a valid question, like you're saying, like, but why? Why did they want to kill him?
Right. Did they hit him and then kill him? And also, like, if they hit him, how did they not know that he was actually dead? Like, don't you think that they would have like beat his head in to make sure that he was dead before they put Betty in front of his body? Like, I don't know. I just feel like that, like, he got away from it by, I don't know. Anyway, that part is a little bit iffy, which makes me feel that maybe not all of them, but maybe some of the Stonies, maybe even just Brett, is on the good side, possibly.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I could see that.
And maybe he's just scared to like not obey Donna because Donna fucking freaks out later. But anyway, let's talk about that later. So you also find out that everybody's in on it, including Jellybean. Like every single person is in on this whole situation, including Alice now.
Mary Andrews,
Mary, FP, Hermosa,
Jellybean,
the coroner,
Yeah.
There's a few other people, but anyway, so that's the group of people that know. And he also, like Veronica, asked the question, like, what did you think of that Archie kiss? Did you feel some type of way about it? And Betty again is like, don't worry about it, bro. Like, BARCHIE's not gonna come until like season 6. So that happens. So then there's a really quick like documentary moment where Alice is getting up in like the BUGHEAD BARCHIE drama, and she's like,
yeah.
So how did you feel about that kiss? And Veronica's like, no, I trusted them throughout that whole situation. It's totally fine. So another plant for a possible BARCHIE situation. They're like neither confirming or denying if BARCHIE's going to happen in the future.
And they're very confident, like their partners are confidently saying like, oh, okay, like yeah, like nothing's gonna happen.
Right.
So the fact that they're so confident, I feel like it's gonna flip it and it's gonna be like, no, actually, like there is something. And the next scene, you know, that was the scene that I was waiting for.
Yes.
And I think it pretty much like sets something up, hopefully something up for the future.
So
for
good.
BARCHIE.
Yeah. So basically, Archie and Betty are texting each other. Betty messages Archie and says, thanks so much for doing that. I really appreciate it. I hope my wasn't a bad kiss to her, LOL. Like, she's like, I hope it wasn't like gross for you. And first, Archie writes out, I'm happy to do it at any time. Don't worry about it. It was great.
First of all, they're like giggling and like they're kind of like, they have that like face that you make when you're texting someone that you like. Like, they have that smirk on their face, you know, that like weird excitement like face that you're waiting for their response.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then like Archie like texts her back. What did he say? He's like, LOL, anytime or something.
He's like, I'm happy to do it anytime. But then right before he's about to send it, and
she's watching it. She's watching the dot.
Yeah. And so as she's waiting for him to send it, it cuts back to his screen and he decides to erase the part that says, I'll do it anytime with you. I was happy to do it. I'll do it again with you at any time. Just let me know or something. He erases that part and he just says like, you're welcome. And then he leaves it at that.
And then she says like night, like kissing emoji. And then he's like night, kissing emoji. And that's it. But there was so much more in that scene than like.
Oh, yeah.
And see, like I want to talk about it later. I want to talk about it in my roundups. What?
That's how you write something good. Like that's how you write a scene where it's like you guys know how to do it. So why aren't you doing it for the entire show?
I don't know.
Like you have the ability, you have the skill to show us nuanced drama, and instead you're like, no, let's create a fake murder. Like, okay. So then it cuts to Alice talking to all three of them, like in a documentary like situation. And she's like, why did you go after these stonies so hard? And Betty's basically like, because these motherfuckers thought that I killed my boyfriend and made me think that I killed my boyfriend. So obviously I had to go in on them. And we needed to like make sure that they cracked because like we needed to take them all down at the same time. And she's like, so I think this is when the documentary like catches up with the present. And this is exactly what's happening in this moment. So it shows Donna barging into Brett's room and she's like, put your fucking game away. We need to talk about this shit. She's like, like this whole thing is happening. I feel like Jughead's still alive. I saw 3 cups in the bunker. Like she's starting to like freak out. And then
what the hell was that? Why would they have 3 cups? Like, are you stupid?
Well, I know. I was like, all the things that you guys are doing, you're making fucking Betty sit on Archie's naked body, and then you don't like hide all the evidence of the food like in the corner. Like I was kind of like
also
about
like
that.
She would have seen the 3 cups when Betty was taking the pops to the bunker.
Right. Yeah, that's true too. That's a good point.
Like she would have seen her holding 3 cups.
She's like, I saw 3 milkshakes in the darkness in the 5.5 seconds that I was down there.
And like even if Betty didn't take it like in that moment, maybe they're like old cups like from like before or whatever, because like they just go there to fuck. Like who cares if it's 3 cups down? It could be anyone's 3 cups.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. There you go, guys. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like,
but anyway, like this is also the moment when Brett is like, okay, now you're pulling at like the tiniest, stupidest things. Like it's supposed to show that Donna's like unraveling quite a bit.
She is unraveling, but I also don't like how they flip characters like the next week. Like Brett's been on Jughead's dick this entire time. He's been so effing evil to him, and now he's like, oh, I want to play my video games. Like, come on, like that's not true to his character. He's been a one-way character this whole time. stay authentic and like stay in his in your lane. Instead now he's like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I don't believe this anymore. Like, okay.
But I think this is the moment that we do learn that Donna is like the kingpin of this whole thing.
She's the head of it. Yeah.
Which is the reason why I think we see Brett like taking that step backward, because now you realize that Donna is the one that's kind of like making all these decisions. She's the one. She says, I am the brains of the operation.
Yeah.
She threatens Brett and says, I'll kill you just like I killed Jonathan. So I'm like, she kills Jonathan?
She fully killed Jonathan? Like, what the fuck?
I'm like, what the fuck? Like, when were we're gonna get that information in one sentence?
We didn't even see that.
Like,
yeah.
The hell? But I guess we're gonna find out or see that happen
Maybe
at some
we'll
point
see
in time.
It. Yeah.
Then it cuts to the lodge residence, and Hermosa comes in and she's like, oh, like, this isn't over yet. I found out some shit on Donna. And she like pulls out this thing and Veronica's like, oh snap, I gotta go tell my friends.
Yeah.
So then the last scene is them in the bunker and Veronica's like, this is the information you all need to know. Obviously we don't get to see it as the viewers, but Jughead's like, sickening, this all makes sense now. And he says like, if this is true, then this is gonna be our smoking gun. And this is how we're going to take the Stonies down like once and for all. So like, sounds like they have like a plan now based on this information that Hermosa gave him.
Whoever this bitch is, which I'm not even holding my breath. I'm not going to be shocked at this.
Right.
You know.
Also, do you think at this point in time, before we get in, so that's the end of the episode, guys. We're going to get into a bunch of questions, a bunch of answers from you guys. The first question that I have is, do you think Charles is still going to fuck shit up? Or is that not a storyline anymore?
I mean, I'm waiting for that because that was a huge bomb drop in the beginning of the season. I feel like if they don't cover that at some point, what a huge miss on their part.
Yeah.
But having said that, they miss everything. So I wouldn't be surprised, you know?
But that was a huge, like, to your point, it was a huge moment. And you do find out that he's one of the people that know about this fake murder. Like, you find out that he is one of the people that helped cover it up. But yeah, that was one of my questions. Another question that I have is, one of the things that Jughead wanted to do when he first initiated this plan was to get rid of the leverage. He says it in the episode, The Ides of March. He says, I need to get rid of the leverage that Brett has on us, aka like the sex tape. But from this episode, it sounds like Donna still has seen it, so it still hasn't been recovered. Like, what this guy fake dying he still hasn't been able to do anything that he was actually trying to accomplish by fake dying. Like, I don't understand. Another thing that, I already mentioned this, but like the whole idea of them trying to frame Betty. How did they know that he was dead? Like, did they even check? Like, Donna says that Jonathan smeared blood on the rock. So like, they did hit him, but they just left him for dead and then let Betty stand over his possibly dead body, which is just like a huge miss on my part, in my opinion. And also, the one thing that I had a question about was, we have to remember what happened last episode. I know that these episodes kind of like throw you for a loop when you watch them, but watch episode 14, guys. She literally spent half the episode thinking that she killed her own boyfriend, knowing that he's in a fucking bunker.
Oh my God, yeah.
So
wait, what?
That's what I'm telling you. It doesn't make any sense.
What the fuck?
She fully cries to Archie and Veronica, saying like, I think I might have killed him. Let's go talk to Charles and see if it was actually the moment. And then knowing that he's been in the fucking bunker this whole time, it just doesn't make sense to me.
Oh my God.
Unless they'll show, and then like, I don't know if they explain this whole situation. Like, she doesn't find out until like a later that he's alive.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm not,
like a day
I don't
later
know.
or something. I don't know. That's very huge point. I didn't even realize that.
I'm really excited to see how these motherfuckers like explain all this shit, because like none of this is like connecting 100%. Okay, so before we get into recap roundups, I'm just gonna read a bunch of your guys' comments that we got from you guys from Twitter. Again, thank you so much. Always send us your comments. We're always reading them. We're always writing back and replying. So the first one is from @JiffyPopCulture. They say, if everyone knew that Jughead was alive, why were all those scenes of Betty and the rest crying, being upset in private? I'm going to need a blow-by-blow recap in the next episode to make a sense of all this. In my opinion, it's cheating the fans to include scenes that would never logically have happened just to keep us guessing. It's cheap writing, even if the resolution was enjoyable.
For sure. Agreed.
Another thing that he says is surprisingly effective resolution of the Jughead death storyline. But number one, when did Archie and Veronica know the truth? They suspected Betty from the very beginning. Number two, did Archie tell Mary everything last episode? And why would she go along with this? Number three, if I were Cheryl / Kevin / Reggie, etc., I'd be pissed that I was being used for this this part of it. Very, very valid points. Very interesting things to mention. At Shoni5 on it says, really enjoyed the episode. It was funny AF. Barchie Nation, we're alive, baby. Tired of the writers' poor treatment of Shoni. All the other couples get a sex scene and Shoni don't even get a kiss. Fuck the double standards. Really enjoyed the episode. It was funny AF.
I mean, Shoni got a major sex scene last season. Like they were on fire last season. And I get that that's last season, but like I guess they can't do it all the time. I don't know, but they did get like a lot of sex.
I mean, their Twitter name is literally at Shoni5 on it, so like they're huge.
They want it all the time.
Yeah, they want it every episode at all times. At Postmaster Radio says, I have a few questions and I want your theories if you don't mind. One, why would Donna kill Jonathan? Too unimportant to live, or another fake death? Two, your thoughts on let's answer that question first. Why do you think Donna would kill Jonathan?
To maybe cover up her tracks, I guess.
I feel like maybe it might have to do with just like,
maybe he was gonna rat on her. I don't know.
Yeah. I think that might be the only possible reason why. And also, if they don't use Jonathan's death as a means to get all of these motherfuckers arrested, then that will
probably will. It probably will be that.
Like his death can't be for literally nothing. Like they would have to arrest Donna in order for this to be the situation. I hope.
Yeah.
Number two, your thoughts on Donna. Is she a wife like Evelyn? Do you think Hermosa found out?
It's interesting.
Or what do you think Hermosa found out?
It's interesting because I did kind of connect Evelyn and Donna a little bit. And I won't be surprised if her real identity is like Evelyn's sister or like something to do with a farm. But like that's so fake. Like if it is, like it's so stupid. Yeah. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case.
To answer Postmaster's question, what do you think Hermosa found out about Donna?
Like who she really is. It's like her secret name or whatever.
But who is she? Like what is her? Like,
that's what I mean. Maybe she's related to Evelyn. Maybe because like it almost seemed like when they saw her name or something, they were like, "Oh my god, it's her." So it's like they connected her to someone that they knew before. It's my assumption. I don't know.
Or maybe it's like someone who like who's related to like the missing Stonewall 4 or whatever.
Or like maybe she's like DuPont's like granddaughter or something. Like
yeah, maybe something like that. That would make sense. And number three, if you still care, does Mr. DuPont have something to do with this? And what is the main mystery behind Stonewall?
I definitely think he has something to do with it. But whether or not we really even care at this point about that connection, I feel like it's so irrelevant at this point. Like, you know, like they could pin it on him the whole thing and be like, it was DuPont the whole time.
Right, exactly.
At this point, they're throwing us curveballs and like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. So
it's true. At Tina Hoven says, the show is giving me whiplash with the storyline. There was no emotional depth to Jughead's death. Barchie was fake for show. A major part of the mystery is now revealed. It's like the show drags out the terrible storylines but rushes through good ones.
Agreed.
Yeah, totally. Yes, Tina, yes.
Thank you so much for your comments and your questions and your theories and your tweets. Like, it makes us feel so much better. We're like, yes, like, not that like you're always agreeing with us, but it's just like a cool conversation to have with you guys because this podcast is just like me and J-Lag, but like hearing your guys' like theories and your thoughts and your questions, like it's really fun to see what you guys have to think about the season.
And guys, honestly, make sure that you guys are always commenting and letting us know what you guys' theories are. We read every single one of them. If not me, then NB, and we try to comment and get back to everybody as often as we can. So yeah, we definitely appreciate all your guys' commentary on this, especially when we like, and this is a perfect format for it. It's a murder mystery kind of storyline. So at least it's keeping us all talking and keeping the community going, which is kind of cool. I do love the fact that, you know, Riverdale's at least bringing us all together, being like, this show is crazy. You know what I mean? I can appreciate that. Yeah. Let's get into our recap roundups.
Recap roundups.
Best moment. My best moment, obviously, guys, if you know me, it's gonna be the Barchie moment. And
Yeah.
At the end with the text message, text unsent. You know, I think what you were saying before, I think it's the perfect example of how good writing makes a huge difference. And in this moment, there wasn't a lot of, they weren't even talking, guys. Like they're literally, it was just text being sent and unsent. So in that tiny moment, you get so much out of that, out of the two people, out of the two characters. And it left me so effing excited. I could care less about this Jughead case. I was like, let's get back to this drama, like this high school drama.
I'm down for this high school drama. Yeah, my best moment is going to Veronica storming in on Archie and Betty in the lounge, and she like rips them to shit. Yeah. Again, another fake moment, but it was a moment that I loved watching because it was like that high school drama. I wanted it to be real so badly just because it was so entertaining to watch. I even loved like all the way to Tony like making that little comment at the very end. I was like, this is what I wish the show was every single day. Like every single week we saw these kids interacting like normal students would. You know, I loved it.
Yeah. WTF moment. WTF moment, I think I'm going to give it to Betty or Jughead or Archie. Like, how could you guys miss the 3 fucking Pops cups in the bunker? Like, I'm sorry, guys. You guys planned this entire scheme out, okay? Yeah. You guys couldn't throw out 3 freaking cups? Really, guys? Really?
Yeah, that's going to be the thing that, like, takes them down at the end.
Yeah.
My WTF moment's going to go to finding out that Donna killed Jonathan.
For sure.
Because she said it so like casually.
I missed it the first time, guys. Like I missed it, and then J-Lag said it, and I was like, "Oh my god, what?"
Yeah, so he did apparently. So we'll see how that kind of plays out. But I was definitely like, "What the fuck?" That totally came out of nowhere.
Yeah, totally.
I'm assuming that like now we can safely say that she's like a low key like serial killer as well. This girl.
MVP.
What was your MVP?
MVP is gonna go to Hermosa.
Hermosa.
You know, I think she's an interesting character. We still don't know her motivations fully yet, but in this episode, she does more police investigation work than Charles and FP combined in the entire series. She's able to like infiltrate the families, the houses. She gets all the tea. She gets all the scoop. And she gets information on Donna. And gives it to Veronica and says like, go do what you will with this information. So that was definitely clutch for the core 4 at the end. Having said that, now I'm curious, how did Hermosa get that information? Like, who is Hermosa? You know what I mean?
She's a sleuth. She's a PI. She's a private agent. So she's or private investigator. She's
like,
really cool.
Maybe she's FBI. Maybe she's real FBI and Charles is like fake FBI.
Ooh.
You know?
I do love her character now. She's really starting to grow on me, and I do wish that she now takes over as sheriff of Riverdale.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Totally.
Like a female sheriff would be sick. My MVP is gonna go to Cheryl. She kept it light for me. She kept it enjoyable. Her moments were great. I just loved watching her on screen. Like, big ups to my girl Cheryl. Loved it.
For sure. And I do love how she always references the fact that like they're cousins. You know, like she's like, girl, you're my cousin. I'm gonna watch out for you. I was like, you're cute. Like she's always like her family like bond is like always there, you know?
For sure. I love her.
LVP.
Who's your LVP?
LVP, I think I'm gonna give to Jughead because I feel like his girlfriend has had to pick up all the effing pieces for him. And just at the end, like it does sound like he had no plan. Like even when they get the information on Donna, he's like,
He's like, what shall we do now?
He's like, now I know what to do. I'm like, okay, now you know what to do when Veronica's sister had to do your job for you. Like you couldn't even figure this shit out.
It was very, very frustrating to watch. My LVP is gonna go to Alice for thinking that her daughter was a murderer.
Totally.
Like in that scene when she's like, "Don't worry, girl, I got you. You killed him, right?" I'm like, "Wow,
so tight,
so tight."
The best line.
What was your best line?
Best line is gonna go to Cheryl when she sees Barchie kissing. She's like, "Oh grief, you wicked, heartless aphrodisiac, destroyer of endgames and worlds." And I was like,
I love that.
She's
I love
so
that.
dramatic. It was so good.
Yeah, so good. I love that line. Mine is gonna go to Cheryl saying, "I'm sorry I called Jughead a hobo that one time," and then Alice saying, "Is that it?" And then she says, "I'm really sorry I called Jughead a hobo that one time." Because she says it dead ass. I loved like her delivery on it was perfect.
Yeah, I was watching Tony's face the whole time to see like how she was gonna react. It was so funny.
Yeah.
But like she doesn't
so
react. She's just like, oh, my girlfriend's crazy.
Yeah. Our listener roundups. I'm gonna go through them real quick. First one we got was from @Micah saying best moment, Jughead being alive and Betty giving him the new beanie. Oh, that was true. That was a really cute moment too. WTF moment, Betty and Archie kissing. MVP, Jughead for being alive. And LVP, the Stonewall Prep Squad. Best line, I'm sorry, I called Jughead a hobo that one time, from Cheryl. @CHONI5 on it says her best moment was the text at the end between BARCHIE. WTF moment, Jughead in the bunker even though we knew he was alive. Best line, I'm sorry I called Jughead a hobo that one time. MVP, BARCHIE rising and Cheryl. And LVP, the writers for shit CHONI treatment and making it so predictable. No one actually believed Jughead was dead, and I legit saw someone guess the whole BARCHIE thing with Jughead being in the bunker 9 hours before the episode. This show needs to hire the Sabrina writers. Ooh, girl. I agree. @Tina Hoven says, best moment, seeing Jughead, even if that part of the mystery was over too soon. WTF moment, Alice asking Betty if she killed Jughead / blunt force trauma hat, which she tweeted to us after we posted it. MVP, the core 4. LVP, Hiram for approaching FP at Jughead's funeral about time off.
Yeah.
And @Postmaster Radio says his best moment was seeing Jughead again. WTF moment, that BARCHIE kiss. # sorry not sorry BARCHIE fans. MVP, the core 4. LVP, Kevin, he could have been more involved. And best line, Riverdale was a town born in blood and it has bathed in it ever since, from Nana Rose. That is it, guys. Thank you again for all of your commentary throughout this crazy mystery, and what you guys like, everything leading up to this moment. Really quickly before we finish the episode, we have a few announcements. The first one, we have our contest going on right now for a chance to win a $50 Amazon gift card and a pop socket. To enter, all you need to do is rate and comment on our iTunes page and you'll be entered in the draw. We're extending this contest to the end of Riverdale season 4, so you still have lots of time to enter. I'd like to take this time to thank our patrons of the episode as well. Our Rewinder squad, White, Nicole, and Faith. Our Lit Rewinders, Tina Ann, Sarge, Serena, Soleil, Kate, and Jessica. And our Mommy Rewinders, Becca, Sarah, Tamala, and Grace.
Thanks, guys. And if you would like to join our Patreon family, check us out at patreon.com/recap_rewind. If you join, you get access to all things Recap Rewind exclusive content, and updates.
And also make sure you guys are checking us out on all of our socials: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook. You can also find us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iTunes. Like, subscribe, follow, and comment to stay engaged with us at Recap Rewind. Thanks for listening. Bye.